Hey guys, Magnolia Root Productions here. Today we're doing a review on the Atlantic Coastline Combination Depot by American Model Builders out of St. Louis. So, overall, this is the depot, how it's supposed to look. This is how I've gotten so far. I haven't completely finished it yet. The decking for the dock around the edges, the signs and the roof have not been completed yet, along with the gable on the roof. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it off because I've seen at least two depots where it was not used at all. Um, so, quick review about the depot itself. Overall, you get about 12 carrier sheets roughly of parts. Um, the parts are like this. They come laser cut onto the wood. So you've got so basically it'll be like this. You've got the laser cut, and of course you paint them on one side, and they're laser cut. So they do pop out fairly easily. I got this kit off of eBay for about $5 less than, well, actually no, about, no, is it 15 less than retail? It retails for $80. 79.99. These are the windows. Yes, those are the doors and windows. Um, as you can see with the structure itself, you have to actually put the windows together, because it tells you in the instructions how to assemble the actual windows. Here's some more of the windows and doors. On the front page of the instructions, it tells you about the actual history of the depot, the characteristics, the paint schemes. Then you open up and it tells you kind of what you've got, and then just the rest of the history and the model itself. And then you've got your parts listings. Then it goes on into the instructions of how to put it together. It's all basswood, strip wood, birch plywood. So it's really thin. It also comes with these little awesome cast metal chimneys, which are supposed to be brick. Um, they've they're okay. Quite frankly, I don't really care for the design too much because they're not completely 100% accurate to some of the ones that I've seen. But then again, I guess they're fairly accurate for most of what you have. But anyway, um, pros and cons of the kit. Um, one of the biggest pros is that it is one of the biggest pros is that it's cheap considering it's a laser cut kit. Some of these kits, now granted the depot itself is about this big. Um, Here's a shot glass for comparison. So as you can see, it's got some size to it. It's probably about a foot long. Um, Actually here, ruler. So as you can see, it sits right about a foot long and right about 3.5 inches wide. Um, the pros for the kit. The kit itself has some pros and cons to it. Um, one of the pros, the windows when they're done, the windows and the doors look really good when they're finished. The cons, you have to put the windows together. Um, the windows are three parts: the glass, the bottom frame, and then the upper sash. You have to put all these together. They've got a little peel tab on the back that's sticky, and this white stuff on the back of this piece, it's it peels off, and it has a sticky back to it, and you stick that to the plastic that they include for glass, which is this. It's clear and it's got a backing on it, but you basically put the door frame up to it, take the backing off of this, stick it on the plastic, and then for the windows you would take the upper sash and put it right there. Well, that was a door, but still. So that's the pros, that it looks good, but the con is that you've got to put the whole thing together. As for the depot itself, the kit itself, overall, how it goes together, these walls are not one piece. So you've got, this is one piece with the actual main frame of the door, of the freight doors. That's that, and this down here is one piece. This is separate. This is separate. This is separate. This is separate. And then this wall goes together in about 3 different places, the white part. So the walls have to be assembled in a very specific order. This kind of shows better what I'm talking about here, is that it's numerous different parts. Especially that really shows it. These are all, like I said, these are all separate parts. I haven't put the roof together yet, or the loading dock, but if it goes together the way the kit has so far, it'll be about the same. Now this kit does not have an interior. That's another con. Okay, hold on, I'm going too far ahead of myself. A pro of the walls going together the way that they do is that you have more chances to correct a misaligned part than you don't. So I like that about the walls. You can correct the parts a lot easier if you mess it up. What I don't like about that is the fact that you have more of a chance to mess it up. So instead of having one wall that's fairly solid, you have a wall that you have to put together. So that's my biggest con with the walls, is that they are very fragile and they will break apart very easily in many different places. As for the main structure itself, it's meant to be built like this, completely enclosed. No open doors or windows. As you can see, I've got one door open, two door open, one door half open, another door, that door's open, and then that door's open. I've done that because in real life these structures did not have heating and air conditioning up until the late 50s, early 60s in some areas, and they did not have air conditioning until much later in a lot of areas. Heating was the fireplace. I shouldn't say they didn't have heating, because they did have heating with the fireplaces, but they didn't have AC. AC didn't come around till, probably the 80s. I could be wrong. If someone knows when AC was introduced to these structures while they were still in use, please comment below and correct me, because I'm probably incorrect about that. With that being said, it also tells you about the paint schemes down here, and I tried to replicate one right as the seaboard coastline era took over. So green and white with a hospital green interior. With that being said, putting the doors and everything together, there will be a lot of light leakage around them. So if you go to light the interior of any way, you're going to have to paint everything several times to make sure light won't leak through. Bringing me to another subject, which is the interior itself. That's the biggest con that I have with this entire kit, is that it doesn't have an interior. If you want an interior with the freight house, and then you want an interior with the office and everything, that's just a little scratch-built, that's a scratch-built little divider that I put because of the wall gap. That's scratch-built. That's not included in the kit. None of this is in the kit. That was scratch-built. because I'm putting lighting and a full interior in it. That's just the little walkway in there. If you want a kit that has a good interior, this is not that. If you want an interior and you want to light the structure up, you will spend a lot of time on this kit. I wanted a full interior, so it's taking me a lot longer than if you just built it per instructions. You could drill holes in the sides and put lighting on the exterior and blank out all the windows and put black paper over the windows. You could do that. I'm not going to, but you could easily do that. Which brings me to my next thing, parts fitting together. Two parts actually, parts fitting together and then time of assembling the whole kit. As for how the parts all go together, you're going to have some minor sanding and filing because of the tabs, but overall it's really not that bad. I think I've really only sanded a few parts that were warped. Overall, the laser cut parts go together flawlessly. Which brings me to my next thing, is time. I've spent well over 3 months working on this so far. That's me working on and off every now and again because I have a job, so I can't sit here every day and work on it. That being said, there's people who could knock this out in a weekend. It all depends on how much time you spend on it. Like I said, I work off and on. Some people work as long as they physically can for a whole weekend and they'll have it together. The longest waiting you're going to be doing with this kit is for glue to dry and paint to dry. If you use paint and white glue and acrylic paint, you'll be waiting a while. If you do what I do, which is super glue and then spray paint and only white glue where the structural integrity has to be kept, then the kit will go together fine and fast. Overall, the kit's good, but it's not something I would recommend to you if you want a quick depot for your layout. I model the Charleston, Western Carolina, which was a subsidiary of Atlantic Coastline, so it's still technically accurate for the layout and also for the local that I'm running. Overall, it's a good kit. It's not for somebody that is new to modeling. This is taking every bit of skill that I've had with scratch building as well to actually complete this depot, because I've also never worked with a wood craftsman kit. This is a wood craftsman kit, and it takes a craftsman to every length of that word. So if you've never built a wooden kit, I wouldn't recommend buying this one first. This is definitely not a beginner's kit. That being said, overall, I think it's a good kit. I think American Model Builders could have done a little bit better on the design in terms of the interior and in terms of how the kit itself is braced in a few areas, because there is no bracing. But overall, it's a good kit, and if you've got $80 laying around and you model the Atlantic Coastline or any of its subsidiaries, except for the Georgia and Alabama, then I highly recommend getting this kit. I'll see you guys next time.